it all, so gear up, get ready to plan your day. The ideas are brewing, you're on your way. The fun is waiting outside your door. Good day, Vail. Good day, Vail.
Hi there, and welcome to Good Day Vail. My name is Cece Zach, and today's episode is another one you don't want to miss if you want to learn about how to spread new ideas and make behavioral change. Today is the TEDx Vail episode, and I am so excited to have Kat Haber, who is actually the founder and creator of TEDx Vail, but also a climate polymath and an evangelist of community here in the Vail Valley, as well as Lisa La Luna, who is very involved with clinical innovation and patient advocacy. And she really is an evangelist when it comes to patient advocacy. So today's episode is one that will help you rethink about any great idea you have, how to bring it to a very succinct way of explaining it, and then bringing it on stage with TEDx Vail. So stay tuned, stay with us. This is the TEDx Vail event that you don't want to miss. Actually, it's the episode of the events, so stay tuned.
Good day, Vail. Good day, Vail.
Hi there, and welcome back to Good Day Vail. I am Cece Zach, and this is the TEDx Vail episode, and I am thrilled to have Kat and Lisa with me today to talk about this phenomenal organization and what it does for our valley. But before we get into that, I'd love our viewers to know about who you are and why you chose Vail. So, Kat, tell us a little bit about how long you've been here, why Vail, and what keeps you here.
Okay. In the 70s, I was one of the first female cadets at the Air Force Academy, and my happiest days were when we had snow days and I couldn't drive back to Colorado Springs, and I got stuck in Vail. And I've been stuck in Vail ever since.
I love that. I love that. And the word stuck is so prominent because of how much snowfall we get.
Right.
So, yeah, that's awesome. So how many years has that been?
Well, that was 77 through 80.
Fantastic. And tell us what keeps you here, besides being stuck, but you have such an impact in the valley. So what keeps you here?
Well, Vail I consider world class. We've had many top events here over the decades that I've lived here. And what is better than the back bowls of Vail? That white, wide open space is just so beautiful for clearing the mind and the body
and soul.
Yeah.
And mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
So Lisa, tell us about your journey to Vail and what keeps you here.
Well, typical story. I came here to ski, loved it, came here over the summer, couldn't get enough of it. Bought a place here 30 years ago and have had a place here ever since. Really the last 4 to 7 years I've been very fortunate to be able to spend a lot more time here and get to know a lot of the people here and be much more part of the community. What keeps me here is, the mountains, the back bowls, everything is just magical. And not just Vail Mountain, everywhere around this Vail Valley, Holy Cross, everywhere. It's just unbelievable. But what really keeps me here is the people. It's the people that make it magnificent. The people that, people come here 2 or 3 times a year because it's a resort. But what they don't realize is it's the people that really keep the resort alive.
That's exactly right. Thank you for bringing that up, because you two epitomize that of keeping this valley going. And Kat, your impact in this valley has been extraordinary. So tell us a little bit about this impact and what TED is all about.
Yeah. So TED stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design. It's a conference.
I never knew that. I've been watching TED Talks for 15 years and I never knew what it stood for.
Yeah, and then the X stands for Independently Organized TED Event. So we've been producing events here for 15 years, and the last half of those years we've been mentoring, guiding, including the local youth in producing those events. That to me is the greatest thing. They learn how to organize, they learn how to public speak, and many of them have gone on to have incredible college careers and post-college careers.
And I can't wait to really dig into that because I know we have a special surprise for our viewers, so stay tuned. But tell us a little bit about the TED organization because maybe our viewers are interested in, you know, what is TED and then what's the value TED brings to the world?
Yeah, so it's really about ideas worth spreading. And so here in Vail, I support new ideas bubbling up from our community that then get recorded, uploaded to YouTube, and those talks have had millions of views. And then at the same time, we bring global leaders here to the Valley to spread ideas that we think would be timely and relevant. And as far as the impact, we've saved people's lives. We literally from suicide. We support young people.
Let me dig into that because it's clearly that you've brought in experts around mental health, right?
Yeah.
Which is such a big challenge and opportunity for us in the Valley. So that to me is a huge win in your camp. So who is the type of person that should attend a TED event? Let's talk about TED, the big umbrella, and then TEDx so that people can decipher between the two.
So people who tend to attend TED, that's a tongue twister.
Yes, it is. 3 times fast next time we have an interview.
Bill Gates, Elon Musk, really top tier technologists, CEOs, executives, researchers, performers, entertainers are at the TED level. And then at the TEDx Vail level, we often have local business leaders, we have innovators, we have athletes, teachers, students. And so the difference is really location. And we've had over 45,000 TEDx events in the world, producing over 100,000 TEDx talks. TED itself has had maybe a couple of dozen events, and they have about 4,500 talks, I believe.
Okay. So, Lisa, you have been involved for quite some time, especially around the youth, but I had the distinct pleasure of watching you at the AMP on a very cold day last April, and you were just extraordinary, and your patient advocacy just exuded through that talk. And if anyone has a chance to see her talk, you know, we'll talk about where you can get the TEDx Vail talks, but it's really worth watching because you inspired me to figure out how I can give back to the Valley. All right, enough about me. How did you get involved with TEDx?
Well, the TEDx youth curator at the time, Marley Linder, had asked me to participate. And of course I said yes. And so that's how I got involved.
And what is the value that it's brought to you as an involved volunteer?
The value it's brought to me, well, you know, I'm very passionate about giving back, first and foremost. And, you know, I've spent my entire career connecting patients to clinical trials. And you know, what my talk discussed was just that, you know, how important clinical research is. And the value it brought to me was we put this little fake little pharmacy up off on the amphitheater up on the back side. I don't know if you saw that.
I
but
sure did.
Yeah,
Yep.
We asked people to, if they could create a new medical therapy, what would it be and for whom? So Alzheimer's disease for my grandmother, you know, something to fight lymphoma for my girlfriend, or something along that nature. And it was just so impactful to me to see how people got involved and how many people asked me to help connect them to a clinical trial, because what people don't realize is there's a lot of new medical therapies out there, but for indications such as Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, the first person that's going to be cured is somebody that's a part of a clinical trial, because there's just no cure out there available yet. So that meant a lot to me. The other thing,
and that is a great example of spreading new ideas.
Right.
So we'll talk a little bit in the second segment about how people can get involved, but I just think that's a fabulous idea. Let's just talk briefly about TEDx Vail, and what are the goals that you have for it, Kat?
Yeah. So we'll produce 7 events this year. All of those will be online. So our goal is to bring a global audience to the ideas that are generated here in Vail, and those that are not generated here are still of interest to a global audience. So we've received 2 Net Promoter Scores of 100.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I've never heard of such a thing.
I know, I was shocked.
Fantastic.
And then when it happened the second time, I thought, okay, I get it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so our aspiration is to always reach the pinnacle of excellence with the resources that we have available at the time. It's all volunteer, no one gets paid, no speaker is paid, no organizer is paid. And we try to give the best experience possible, whether it's online or in person, organized by the local youth.
Mm-hmm. So, Lisa, if you were to take away one thing you learned about being a speaker, and we'll get into volunteering in the second segment, what did you learn about yourself during the experience?
Well, I've been doing presentations all my life, and what I learned that I really knew nothing.
Oh, you're so funny.
Well, because it's a whole different way, and it's smart. It has to be exact. You only have a few minutes. You have to be succinct. You have to get right on point. And the people that do these TEDx talks, I have a lot of respect for, because you just don't get up there and start talking. It definitely takes a lot of rehearsal. It takes a lot of thought. And I think the goal of all this, it has to be a very thoughtful process, because 2 things, ideas are great, but if ideas are implemented and executed, they're just ideas. And I think people oftentimes forget the power of ideas. And so I think just even being able to communicate that in and of itself is really important.
So speaking of succinct, thank you for that wonderful idea generation for all of us here for TEDx Vail. We're going to take a short station break. I would ask that you all stay tuned to Good Day Vail. I'm Cece Zach. This is a TEDx Vail episode. We'll be right back. Thanks.
Good Day Vail. Good Day Vail.
Hi there, and welcome back to the second segment of the TEDx Vail. Again, thank you, ladies, so much for being here, Lisa and Kat, to talk about TEDx Vail. Tell us a little bit about the topics, because I'm sure that there are such a plethora of topics that TED, the parent organization, kind of focuses in on.
Yeah.
What does TEDx Vail focus in on?
Yeah, so when we have the youth events, they seem to be very concerned with mental health, relationships, their lived experience. And we love that. But a TEDx talk is not just about a story, it's about an idea. So they have to do deep research, they have to visualize it, they have to really speak from their experience, but then go beyond it to a universal idea that includes a call to action. Because an idea without a call to action just kind of hangs out there.
And my understanding is the hope is that a speaker would like people to evaluate how to change their behavior to make the impact of that idea.
Behavior and attitude ends up with a change in action.
Yeah. When we were preparing, you had 3 great words about the topics. Maybe share with our viewers about how you think of what the speakers can do.
Yeah. So here we are in Vail, Colorado. It's kind of like a capital for recreation. So we recreate, we rejuvenate, and we regenerate.
I love that. Recreate, rejuvenate, and regenerate. Love that. All right.
Yeah.
Now, Lisa, you are that person that was doing the 3 R's. Can you just give us a brief synopsis of what your process was to get prepared and starting from scratch, like submitting your idea?
Sure, well, it takes time. And if anybody's going to do this, I would recommend that they start really early. You think literally a year in advance, 8 months at least, at the very least, because you start it out and you redo it over and over again, talking about recreate. And I think one of the biggest things for me when I was going through it was really making sure that I was providing a much deeper understanding of the topic to the audience. And how do you do that? How do you relate that to an audience of various different age groups?
And what's the time limit that each talk is?
Yeah, so the agreement with YouTube, where all of the talks are uploaded, is 18 minutes or less. In our digital age, people's attention spans have shrunk.
Yes.
So we encourage speakers to do a talk that's less than 9 minutes.
Okay. So you were saying that 8 months for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to admit, I'm a little bit of a procrastinator, so my 8 months, I wanted it to be 8 months, but yeah.
You're a pressure producer.
There you go. I love
Yeah,
that.
I would agree with that.
It's kind of like me on TV. Yeah, pressure producer, yeah.
But I would recommend for anybody at least to start thinking about it at least 6 months ahead, because you really do, you have other things going on in your life. This is a volunteer type of thing. And once you look at it and ask some of your friends, well, does this make sense? And they say, well, I didn't really get that. Then you have to kind of start all over again and just dig deeper and deeper. And I think you could probably do it in a week if you wanted to, but to really be really excellent, I think you really need to
And
put the
change
time in.
behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really need to think that through.
Yeah.
Kat, shifting gears, I know that you have a phenomenal sponsor that helps, maintain TEDx Vail. Would you like to talk about the amazing relationship you have with, those that keep you going?
Yeah, well, partnerships are really the key to a locally produced TEDx event. We just presented yesterday to the town of Vail. We're so grateful for their support over the years. We've had banks support us, local businesses support us, individuals. We couldn't do what we're doing without that, because within a TEDx experience, there is also a social aspect to it. And so you have the talks, and then equally important is the conversation that results after people have been exposed to the ideas. And then in those social spaces, often a speaker will have an experience where someone can take action immediately and get that momentum going and keep the flow going with that idea.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that there's a great partnership with you and Vail Symposia as well.
Oh yeah, we would not exist without them. They have been our fiscal partners from the very beginning. They manage a lot of the business aspect, and we exchange ideas and speakers.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love, love, love that.
We love collaboration in the Valley.
So let's talk about how to keep TEDx Vail as impactful as it is. What are some of the needs that the both of you see that the community could help with?
Sure. Partnerships, funding in a community that has so much social entrepreneurship going on. TEDx needs to continuously revitalize our return on investment, our return on experience for the local businesses. So currently, the specific volunteers that we're looking for are an accountant, a graphics person, and an editor.
All right, all of you out there, accountant, graphics, and an editor,
Yep.
a video editor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Video editor. So anyone out there that is looking to bring their skills should contact Kat.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And I would have to say thank you for doing the show, because
Yeah.
awareness is a
Right?
big part of it. I've been helping with some of the fundraising over the last couple of years, and what I've found is people are willing.
Yeah.
They just don't know about it. And so the awareness that you're bringing and others can bring and hope to bring is important.
Well, secretly, I have had a dream since I listened to my first TED Talk 20 years ago. And for all of you, Lisa and I actually come from the healthcare industry, and we've known each other tangentially through the years. I've always had a dream to do a TED Talk.
What's your big idea?
Well, that's the thing. You asked me that the other day. And I think doing the show and becoming more in tune with this community, I'll have a big idea very soon.
All
So
right.
I might not make the next event you have in April, this coming April at Battle Mountain High School, but
Yeah.
I will be thinking about that. And I have plenty of time because it's
Yeah.
over a
I'll
year
help
from
you.
now.
I'll be your coach.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. If there was one big outcome that you've had, Kat, of putting this together, because it's been, how many years have you been doing this?
15.
15. What's the one biggest accomplishment that you would like to share?
Well, I think the up-leveling of skills locally is probably the biggest outcome, and that shows up in the way kids can take what they've learned and apply it in their lives. Last November, I coached 100 speakers for TEDx Boston based on my experience and success here in the Valley. So we don't track specifically how each person, but we hear back through storytelling how people are using what they've learned at TEDx.
And speaking of storytelling, I hear we have a special guest in the house.
Yes.
Andrew, come on in. We actually, come sit next to me. We actually have a youth with us. And my understanding is that you are the curator
Yes.
For TEDx
Yes.
Vail Youth. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, we're so excited
Super
to have
excited.
you here.
Yeah.
Speaking of impact, can you tell the audience a little bit about the impact that TEDx Vail has on you?
Yeah. It's just great to see the event over the years, and the help from Kat and our other youth adult mentors, Sage Nelson and Kristen Lee at Battle Mountain High School, all helped the event come together and make it what it is today.
All right, tell our viewers, are you in high school right now?
Yes, I'm a senior.
All right.
But our partners are great. We're always looking for more partners. It's really incredible to see all the work that our youth puts in and all the time that all our directors and team members, organizers and volunteers, and especially the speakers this year have put into the event to make what it is.
So one of the things Kat and I talked about before about bragging rights was that there's a great opportunity for you to get an experience before you go to college, right?
Right.
So do you see using this experience as part of the discussion and maybe even part of where you might choose to go because of the impact that this has had on you?
Definitely. I mean, I've heard of a bunch of TED events at colleges, which would be amazing to participate in, would be great for just the experience in general. I mean, being on TVA today is a great public speaking experience also, so it will get me ready for the event on April 16th at Battle Mountain High School.
Well, thank you for saying that about the show too, because we're really striving to help bring the messages of things that people don't know about in the Valley.
Sure.
And so my hope in here is that people know more about TEDx. They recognize the value that it brings to creating behavior change, but also helping youth get skills that they would not get in the typical high school realm. So.
Yeah. I mean, we see talks this year ranging from space dog that the USSR spent into space in the 70s to creativity and being kind. So all our speakers this year are from youth. All the talks are from youth. Yeah.
I can't wait to go.
It's gonna be great.
So,
yeah.
They're from every part of the valley.
Exactly.
Vail Mountain School all the
Eagle
way to
Valley.
Eagle
lovely, lovely.
So big wide range, yeah.
All right, so unfortunately I've got to take an end on this one, but it's just been so awesome to have you here, and I learned so much. So from me to the viewers, I hope you learned about TEDx Vail, and please find a way to participate, whether just going to the events. They're obviously on the TEDx Vail website, as well as even volunteering. Accountant, editor, film editor, and what was the third one?
Graphics.
And graphic editor.
Just being in the audience.
Yeah.
And just being in the
Show
audience.
up.
So thank you again. This is a wrap for today. This was the TEDx Vail episode, and I'm Cece Zach.
On your way, the fun is waiting outside your door. Good day, Vail.